Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams.
And welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are radio for the local craft beer movement. We're broadcasting from our studios at AM 920 The Answer in beautiful Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia. I'm Tim Dennis, and Aaron Williams is on assignment this week.
And I am field operative Brian Hewitt. This week we're talking beer for people who don't like beer. They're called wine drinkers, Tim. We've got a great group of experts.
Brian.
Yeah, seriously?
Yes.
I mean, I don't even believe they really exist,
right.
But I'm just taking your word for it. So we've got a great group of experts here to talk with us. We're joined by brewer Peter Kiley, sommelier Dan Pernice, and beer and wine enthusiast Heddy Proctor today. We'll give them a more in-depth introduction a little later in the show. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Absolutely.
We've started a little pre-gaming this week. So, Brian, I know you missed an event you really wanted to catch last week, but I'm sure you had some beers this week.
Yes, I had a few beers. I missed the old 320 Fest thanks to a visit to the
some
dentist.
Dental work, right?
Yeah. So I had to seek solace in cans of Automatic from Creature Comforts, Burial Surf Wax, Scofflaw Basement, and in my neighborhood I found a pint or two of Scofflaw's Raspberry Sneaky Wheat.
Raspberry Sneaky Wheat,
Which I had not had before. I was pretty excited to find it. It's like right a block away from where I live.
At
Crazy.
Chez Boucher, right?
Yes, Chez Boucher.
Which is the Bucket Shop Cafe in Buckhead. So they have tachos. They're not on the menu, but they'll make them if you want.
They have Cajun seasoned tots there, too.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's not on the menu either, but I found that out today, actually. Yeah.
Well, Brian, I did make it to the old 320 Fest. So, I'm going to rub that in to you a little bit. But a great festival put on by John Roberts at Max Lagers. Amazing food, drink, just a great time. So many awesome beer people there. And some of the beers I really enjoyed were Max Lager's Excommunication. Three Taverns had their new pineapple sour there. That was really good. I also had some Creature Comforts Automatic, which is a fantastic beer. And Jolly Pumpkins, I don't know if this is a new one or just new to us, but Rodzilla, which is fantastic. I like Jolly Pumpkin stuff, and I'm glad to see them back here in Georgia.
That excommunication, though. That's what I wanted to say.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm already tongue-tied. This is going to go well.
Peter, Daniel, you guys have anything interesting this week? Beer or wine, since that's the hot topic?
Let's see. Well, if I may brag for a minute.
Sure.
We, Osteria Mattone, is celebrating because we just got our 4th consecutive Wine Spectator Award.
Very cool. Congratulations.
Nice. Very nice.
Really good stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Just something that's taken a lot of dedication. It's something we set out to do from the beginning. So having it 4 years in a row, that's a good reward for a lot of hard work.
Very cool,
Definitely.
man. Congratulations.
Yeah, congratulations.
Peter, you been drinking those Monday night brews?
Yeah, and I guess compared to you guys, my week has sucked.
Jealous, man?
Zero Wine Spectator Awards for us at Monday Night Brewing, which, by the way, that's huge. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
4 years running is not an accident. So
No, it's true. It's insanity for me, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
this week, we're just getting closer to the launch of our new brewery, The Garage.
Right.
So we got less than 2 months, and man, it is intense right now.
I bet.
Nonstop, but we have some fun things in the works. We're excited for everyone to see it.
You guys are doing a little preview here in a few days, aren't you?
Yes, for our friends in the media.
Very cool.
Yes.
I'll be there, man. I'm going to come check it out.
You better be there.
We're friends, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
all media friends, I don't know, but
Right.
you, yes.
Heck yeah,
Absolutely.
man. I appreciate that.
I see you're pointing at Tim, but not at me.
That's
Am I
correct,
included
Brian.
in that?
Honestly,
that is
I'm
correct.
I'm just speaking into this clown nose, so whichever direction that's in, it kind of makes it easier for me. So honestly, blame the microphone.
Okay. Well, that
And
sounds
Aaron
fair.
has joined us on Facebook Live here from his assignment. He said that he's enjoying Northeast IPAs right now.
I don't
so
believe
he's
him.
working hard. Yeah, absolutely.
So I think it's time for our beers of the week.
Crack open a cold one. It's the Truck and Tap Beer of the Week. Craft beer and food trucks in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com.
Tim, what do we have on deck this week?
We are loaded up here, man. We've got a lot of great stuff. So we've got beer and wine this week. So
Beer and wine both.
You know what? I'm going to let Peter and Daniel kind of tell us what they brought, because a lot of the wine names I won't be able to pronounce and all that. I know there's a Dre Fontaine and Oud Goose in the mix, which is one of my favorites, so I'm going to enjoy that. And what else we got, guys? What are we going to take a sample of this week?
Sure. So I came pretty loaded for beer here. I knew that we wanted to do some wine and beer that I think kind of blur the lines, a little crossover, a little bit, especially because even though, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, let's face it, I hate beer. And,
Right. Terrible.
Would rather be drinking wine at any point. But no, I'm just kidding. I get into it a lot, and I brought some examples here that, for one thing, beers that kind of brought me over a little, opened my eyes to that world, at least the latest, greatest things that were happening, and some kind of old, and also some wines that I think beer drinkers might drink, and some styles that I think might appeal to them for various reasons. So for the beers, I went with just an absolute classic, the Rodenbach Grand Cru.
Very nice.
Sure, this is one that, I mean, I'm sure we all in this room are familiar with, but it's one that I think a lot of people see every time they're in a nice beer store, a place where they sell beer, but pass over it a lot. Like it's kind of not near the top of anybody's shopping list.
It's not the newest and hottest and coolest, you know?
It's not. But that is kind of their hallmark now. I mean, they even have on the bottle the original sour ale, which they've got a decent claim to, like a legitimate claim to. But anyway, it's a style that, a blend of aged ale, sour red Flemish ale, that once I discovered and that we sold at the restaurant I worked at, kind of opened my eyes to how diverse the beer world can be. Like, they can produce something this complex, this elegant, this amazing. So from there, going to along similar lines, the Cascade Brewery Noyau, their Northwest Style Sour Ale, 2014, and that's another brewery that produces these styles that are just ageable, barrel-aged stuff, infinite complexity, like really a level of depth, intensity, and complexity that is usually reserved for most of the wine world. No offense, but
Sure.
No, sure.
anyway, and then
So how did you pronounce that again? Because I never know how to pronounce that. Noyo or
I went with what I feel like is the French pronunciation.
the French? Okay,
Yeah,
that's probably the
a
right
safe
way.
bet there,
Yeah.
right?
Noyau.
It has an X in the end, so it's got to be.
It does, and honestly, I was just there in Portland a couple months ago, back in April, at the brewery. Amazing, by the way.
Sure.
And I should have asked them then and there, like, how do you pronounce that? But
Yeah.
that's
So,
my best
Peter,
shot.
real quick, what are you bringing for us today? And we'll talk about them a little more in depth a little later.
I just broke out the things that, like I said, I like to enjoy.
Sure enough.
So, kind of for the wines, I just went back to kind of where my wine career started, both in territory and in a producer. So, first one is I got a very special bottle to me that I haven't actually had the balls to open for quite some time. It was the first wine that I ever made in 2009 from Brago Cellars with my first winemaking teacher. And then next one is from Lycan Estates, which is also the owner of Brago originally. He started this project. He always sends me his wines. He's like, is it working out?
Is it working?
Yeah. But, one's a Pinot Noir, other one's a Noir and Gris. And then for the beers, oh, man, these are beers that I wanted to open up anyways, but now that I'm with my friends, you see, I pluralized
He's pointing
that.
at me
There
this
you
time,
go.
Tim.
That's
Not
what he
you.
did. He knows,
Facebook
right?
friends, all right, you guys. I have the side project Saison de Blé. I mean, that's a ball.
Absolutely.
That's a baller beer.
Very nice.
And then, of course, as you said earlier, the Three Fontaine Oud Goose, because
right?
Because
Absolutely.
it's Thursday, right? Is it Thursday?
Yes.
It is.
Oh man, it's Thursday.
Very cool.
Thursday.
Absolutely. Now, Heddy, you're way over there, but I'm gonna help you out since there's not a mic in front of you. You've brought us some good burnt hickory awesomeness. We've got General Joe, correct? And what else was there? And Papa Chewy that we're going to get into. So we've got plenty to choose from right now. So, well, it's time for us to take a break, and we'll get to our headlines here in a minute. Coming back, we're going to be talking to Peter, Dan, and Heddy a little bit more about beer for wine drinkers and also some wine for beer drinkers. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Jason Pellet, brewmaster at Orpheus Brewing.
You're listening to Beer Guys Radio. Eat it, Scott. You couldn't do that.
The Beer Guys are back right after this.
Andrew and Lisa with Your Pie Perimeter here. We'd like to invite you to our store for a beer.
Is there anything better than pizza?
Yep, brick oven pizza that's made fresh and paired with a cold craft beer.
That's what you get at Your Pie Perimeter, located in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center by Perimeter Mall.
It's the perfect place to relax on the patio with a pint after work or bring the family in.
Andrew and Lisa, I'm going to let you finish, but first, you forgot to mention the $3 craft beer specials you have every Thursday. I mean, come on, the pizza's great, but that's an amazing deal. $3 craft beer specials every Thursday. Now, go ahead and finish your commercial.
Follow Your Pie Perimeter on Facebook for all of our beer events and specials.
That's Your Pie Perimeter, located in Perimeter Place Shopping Center next to Chipotle.
Here at the Beer Guys Radio Show, we love to bring you the stories behind the craft beer that you love. And we'd be grateful if you took the time to check out our Patreon site. It's at patreon.com/beerguys. If you choose to become one of our donors, you'll get some awesome swag, including t-shirts, glasses, and some stickers, too. Thanks again for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We are really happy that you have enjoyed this show. And please subscribe, tell a friend, and head to patreon.com/beerguys. Cheers.
It's Aaron and Tim, the Beer Guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer service are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out. Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the Beer Guys sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
The numbers all go to 11. Does that mean it's louder? Well, it's one louder, isn't it?
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Follow us on the socials. We're Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're broadcasting from the AM 920 The Answer Studios in Buckhead. And this week we're talking beer for wine drinkers, wine for beer drinkers. And we're with Dan Pernice, Peter Kiley, and Heddy Proctor. So we're going to switch it up just a little bit. We ran a little short in the first segment because we get to talk and it happens. But we're going to catch a couple headlines real quick.
What's in the news? The Beer Guys have the scoop.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Time for headlines. Sponsored by Your Pie Perimeter in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center across from Perimeter Mall.
Brian, what do we got in the news headlines this week?
All right, the first thing in the very short stack for this week is Scofflaw tripling its capacity to basically address the crazy demand for their beer. So they've tripled their capacity. And they're resuming canning of Basements and Double Jeopardy soon, and possibly some limited runs of Hooligan. So
Very cool.
You can look for that. And this also gives them more opportunity to do some R&D projects, which include more Absentium, which I think will please everybody, and something called Double Basement.
Yeah, because they got to a point there for a while where they were just trying to handle draft accounts. So there are cans occasionally at the brewery, but none out in your shops,
Yeah,
right?
they weren't anywhere. I looked, but they had to keep the draft accounts going to keep the business alive.
Sure enough.
And the other thing I have is, New Realm has revealed some plans for their Atlanta Beltline location. And sounds pretty interesting. It's... They've partnered up with Atlanta-based firm AI3, I believe that's how they prefer to be pronounced there, and they're creating a industrial space with a color palette of rich, earthy tones highlighted by subtle pops of deep green. So rustic, craft-driven decor, and
that's cool.
They're going to have a 20,000 barrel annual capacity. That's my understanding.
And I think I read the way they're going to have it set up, it'll be like 3 levels separated, beer garden, dining room. And they'll have the ability to keg, can, and bottle, correct?
Indeed. They have a dining room, an interior bar, a lower-level patio, an outdoor Beltline beer garden, and a rooftop patio. So they got everything covered. You can drink anywhere, basically, and see anything.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Brian.
Yes.
We appreciate the news update. So now we're going to get into some beer and wine. So I know we opened a few bottles during the break, so we didn't have to mess with pulling corks and that here. So could I have some wine, please? And could someone share with me what in the world we're going to be drinking here?
Here,
Okay, we'll get that in the proper glassware, right?
Absolutely.
That is the
That's
proper
right.
glassware for that
A
wine.
wine snifter.
I tell you what, we're going to start with a little more introduction of our guest here because we just kind of ran through it in the beginning. So we have Peter Kiley with us, and Peter is the head brewer at Monday Night Brewing. You're a former winemaker. Your family owns a vineyard, correct?
My uncle does, and he doesn't really like to tend to it. So,
Okay.
Sweat equity, right?
Absolutely.
Jump in there early in life,
Yes.
but yeah, it was an amazing opportunity. It's fun.
And how did you make the transition from wine to beer?
Disparity. No,
yes.
I was like, hey, I have a
Good
great
answer.
thing going. I'm going to ruin it.
There you go. Let's just train wreck this.
No, really, it was getting into wine was something that I was just passionate about. Studying chemistry in school, and then wine was the obvious choice. And then, going from California, coming back home, making wine for Chateau Lawn, and then leaving that to study to be a sommelier and work for the Atlanta Wine School. Then an ex-girlfriend actually put me in touch with Monday Night Brewing before they opened.
Okay.
She was like, hey, you should get back to production. You don't seem like this is your thing, just drinking wine and gaining 30 pounds. And I was like, baby, that's my thing.
It actually is my
What do you
thing,
mean?
yeah.
And that's when I knew her and I were not going to be together forever. But it kind of just fell into my lap. It was the first beers that I ever made was at Monday Night Brewing, and
Very cool.
Now I have grown to love it. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And Dan, you are a sommelier.
Sure.
You were did you start your career in New York City?
No, actually, I started with, if you all know the Castellucci family.
I do not.
Okay. Well, they have Iberian Pig.
I know Iberian Pig. Though,
all right.
So,
yes. And that's like the second generation here in Atlanta.
Okay.
Fred Sr. Castellucci opened up Roasted Garlic and Sugo. I think there is still a Sugo up near it's.
There
right
used
off
to be
of
one
Medlock
there
Bridge.
in Roswell, but I don't think
That's right.
It's in that location.
There were up to
anymore,
4 at one point. First one was in downtown Roswell. I started there, worked behind the bar. It was wine and beer, which is pretty much how things turned out for me in life. So started there. Then I worked for Bell South and became AT&T. Once 2008 hit, things got kind of rough. So I went up to New York City just to find work. Ended up in a restaurant because very quickly in New York, if you don't have a job, you're going to run out of money. Worked at a place called The Modern and just started as like a back server and then a server, and eventually fell in love with wine there. Saw wine saw a future and a career in wine, and became a sommelier at that restaurant.
Awesome. And then you came back to Roswell.
Exactly.
Opened Osteria Mattone, and you have a couple other restaurants that you work with.
We do,
correct?
yeah. So 2013 came back down. I've been helping my brother with his first restaurant, Table in Maine, which opened up in 2011. Osteria Mattone opened in 2013. We've got a new restaurant called Coalition Food and Beverage. That's coming up in downtown Alpharetta later this year.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
And we've got Heddy hanging out in the shadows over there, but Heddy is a craft beer and wine enthusiast. You attended the Culinary Institute of America, NAPA, for wine studies. And I think the feather in your cap is that you are the latest and greatest and newest taproom manager for Burnt Hickory Brewery in Kennesaw, right? Yeah, very cool.
So all of it's coming together. I hadn't put that together before now.
There you go.
I don't
It's
know
all
why. I
coming
don't know
together.
why.
I was like, wow,
great.
she really likes burnt hickory. But
Seriously.
Yeah.
I had planned that before I even got the job this week, so that's exciting. But I am a big fan of burnt hickory.
Very cool. Awesome. Now, Dan, you poured me some wine here, so we're gonna jump into this. I'm gonna ask a question about this wine. What are we drinking?
This is something way out of left field.
Okay.
All right. At its core, it's pretty familiar. It's 100% Gamay, which is the grape most famous for Beaujolais.
Okay.
So Beaujolais, by definition, has to be made from the grape Gamay. We're talking about Burgundy, France, so all the way on the eastern side of France, south of Lyon. This wine is made a little bit further south in the Rhone Valley, which is much more famous for grapes like Syrah and Viognier. This producer, however, has gone off the rails a little bit, is producing Gamay in this otherwise predominantly Syrah area and making it in such a way that is about as natural and organic as possible. They do have a couple certifications, biodynamic, organic. The producer, before I continue, is La Ferme de Sept Lune. So it means the end of 7 moons.
Okay.
Don't quote me on that, I'm pretty sure. And the name of the wine is Glou, Glou, and that I do know is the term. It's like a French wine for chugging, like drinking.
Okay,
it's a drinking wine.
So
it's a
in
drinking
layman's terms, what are the characteristics we're going to see in this wine?
All right, so
for
this
someone,
is,
I get black pepper.
Sure, 100%, and Gamay will give you that. It's actually in blind tasting. Oftentimes, it gets confused with Syrah a lot because you'll pick up a hint of black pepper. The soils there where those grapes are grown can be relatively similar. The area is not too far away. It can have a darker color, a lot like Syrah. So a little peppery. It's going to be rustic in style. We're talking about native yeast fermentation, and I know we were talking about yeast earlier.
We're going to have to move on here, we can get. We've got a lot more to discuss, and unfortunately, not a ton of time. So we're gonna brush on this real quickly here at the end of this segment. Beer and wine seem to have kind of a hot and cold relationship. Mm-hmm. So there are some people that enjoy both, but for the most part, for what I've seen, beer drinkers snub wine and wine drinkers, snub beer, correct? So are you seeing the same thing from people?
I'd say the crossover for me is acid. And one of the main components in any good wine is its acid profile and how well it's integrated in the rest of the wine. And it can often be the same thing for beer. A lot of beers, especially craft beers, are determined by the strength of its acidity and its ability to balance the rest of it. And for me, that's a simple bridge between the two.
We're going to take a quick break, but coming back, we're going to talk more beer and wine with Dan, Peter, and Heddy. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we'll be right back.
I'm Josh Rachel. I'm the co-owner and brewmaster at Jekyll Brewing, and you're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
The Beer Guys are back right after this. The Beer Guys Radio Show on the Beer Guys Radio Network. BeerGuysRadio.com.
We are Reformation Brewery, celebrating the reformer in you. Locally crafted within the renowned Etowah watershed of Woodstock, Georgia, Reformation creates yeast-forward brews full of aroma and flavor crafted to last. Come see us in beautiful Woodstock, Georgia, for a tour and tasting of unique brews that you can't find anywhere else. Reformation Brewery. Set beer free. ReformationBrewery.com.
Hey, it's Aaron, and you're a fan of craft beer, right? And you want to know more about what's going on in the craft beer scene in Georgia? Thanks to the hard work from my co-host Tim, we are giving you the lowdown on the craft beer scene every week right in your inbox. Go to BeerGuysRadio.com and sign up for This Week in Georgia Beer right at the top. We won't spam you, promise, or sell your name. Just good beer info every week. Plus, you can win great prizes from us. This Week in Georgia Beer, sign up today. BeerGuysRadio.com.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery, but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're CRL Contracting, and we build breweries. We are the most experienced contractors in the state of Georgia when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding current breweries. If you've been to Orpheus, Second Self, or Scofflaw, then you know what kind of work we can do. Just give us a call at 678-546-3382 or visit crlcontracting.com for more information. CRL Contracting. We build breweries. crlcontracting.com.
If you're into craft beer, you need to check out Drink This Beer. It's a podcast from the creators of Beer Guys Radio. Tim Dennis and Aaron Williams talk to some of the best and most important brewers across the country and the world. So if you like to drink beer, pull up a chair and crack open the Drink This Beer podcast. Available on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Ahoy there, mateys! Hunting whales? We've got you covered with Tim's Whale of the Week.
Yar, what be the whale of the week, Tim?
Man, we've got a couple good ones this week, Brian. So one that I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on, Three Taverns, Crave, which released earlier this week, is a hazy double IPA that's part of their Hop Leaf project. So super hazy, super juicy. I've talked with Brian Purcell over at the brewery, and we were trying to connect up so we get some, and sometimes schedules just don't click there.
Sure.
But he said, I really think you're really going to like this one. So, he's
excited about this.
Yeah, sounds really good. So that's one. And something kind of cool, we can get some New Glarus here in Georgia, Brian. Did you know that?
No, I didn't realize that until I saw.
Yeah, New Glarus did a collaboration with DeProf, called Abst Solution. That's ABT Solution, which is a Belgian quad, and that is available in Georgia right now.
I seriously thought that was a misspelling.
That wasn't. No, that's
okay.
that's
All right.
it, Brian. I am correct. I typed the truth there. So yeah. So those are the whales of the week, and now we're going to get back to our beer and wine discussion. We've been sipping some wines. Now, what's this? Now, Peter, this is one of yours, correct, that we're drinking right now?
I can't take credit for it completely, but yeah, this was the first commercial wine that I worked on.
Very cool. I was just talking that you brought the bottle tonight, man.
Yeah, I definitely brought it. It's from Borrego Cellars. It's over in Anderson Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like around the Emerald Triangle, Northern California. But this is a 2009, and it's a Pinot Noir that's a blend of all of the Anderson Valley vineyards over there. But unlike myself, this wine is actually really held up with age, and it's a really special wine to me for the fact that like I said earlier, that it was the first wine I worked on, but it's also the wine that on the first date with my now wife, she was like, "Oh, damn, you brought a bottle of wine that you made," and I was like, "Uh-huh."
Yeah, I did.
And she was like, "Oh, wait, but you're sweeping the floors at the brewery, and you're probably getting paid $2 an hour." And I was like, "That's right.
That's right."
Oh yeah.
And
baby.
you want to get married? And she's like, "Yep."
You want a piece of this cheddar?
Nailed it. So, all right, our main goal today, so we're going to kind of try and buzz through a little bit of this. We want to talk a little bit about the similarities and the differences in beer and wine. So we've talked some, and we should just give Dan the mic and let him talk about wine, because you can tell there's a passion there. Because it's just like when beer geeks get together and they talk, he just wants to give you all the details, let you know about why this exists and how it exists. So, but unfortunately, Dan, we've only got an hour.
Right.
So we'll make that work out, but... So in an effort to bridge the gap, what are some of the similarities and the differences in beer and wine? Peter, what are some things that bring these together?
Oh, my God. There's so many differences, but there's also so many similarities. They're alcohol, right?
Right.
So I guess let's start with the similarities. Outside of alcohol, it's something that has got such a huge, deep, all-encompassing history about it. I mean, you think about both wine and beer. They go really far back. Now, if you were to just step, all the way up to now, if I were to look at in regards to production, honestly, there is similarities like during harvest, where you bust your butt for sometimes 2 months and you don't get much sleep. That's just like brewing, but brewing is kind of year-round. Beyond that, there's so many different things that the practices are starting to become, blended together. The methodologies. You're starting to see that a lot more, and I know we'll probably talk about that later, but the differences, oh man, I can go all day for that one. So differences, let's see. Outside of the obvious of grain and grape, positive pressure. Wow. So positive pressure exists in a brewery. It does not really exist that much in a winery. I found that out really quickly when I opened that one valve at the brewery the first day. Oh my God, I got blasted in the chest.
The wine doesn't spray out like that, does it?
No, it sprays out money, and beer tanks spray out pain. So very different.
Get that drop.
The patience factor for wine. When I was at Chateau Alone, we could crank out a muscadine wine in 3 months. But before that, any Alsatian varietal we would do would be minimum 10 months. I had a Syrah that was once 3 years in barrel and 2 years in bottle, and then you see with beer, you can flip these things over, but still at the same time, there's starting to become vintages in both ends of the game. There's a lot of barrel aging. There's a lot of, use of foeders. There's a lot of these methodologies. All of a sudden, these worlds are coming together to the point where, back in the day at a winery, if you got Brettanomyces, you got to have a resume day, where you worked on your resume because you're fired.
Right, yeah.
And now in a brewery, you get a promotion, I think.
High five.
They're like, oh, wow, you should go do something creative. Here's some more money. Have fun. So it's crazy watching the two worlds come together, but it's actually really exciting to have a honest perspective on both.
And from the consumer side, as far as, drinking this, and I know that we have wine barrel-aged beers. We have different things like that. The beer that we started out with here, this is a Highwire Grisette. It's called White Grape Grisette, and it has a Sauvignon Blanc grapes in it. So there's a lot of crossovers there. So let's say for a wine drinker, if someone likes a wine like a Sauvignon Blanc, and if I tried to go any further than explaining that, I would mess it up because I don't know wine. But what are some beers and wines that maybe you can compare to each other that say, if you like this, try this?
Well, you just mentioned Sauvignon Blanc. And I know this may be a hot topic, but the one that jumps to mind for me is one that we had at Osteria Mattone for a while from Wicked Weed. is their Field de Ferme. So something that drinks with a little bit of tartness to it, a little bit of elegance. Honestly, there are a lot of beers out there made in such a way that are basically closer to champagne, really, than what I think people immediately think about when they think of beer.
And what was that style in that beer that gave it those characteristics? Like if someone wanted to go out and look for something that compared to a Sauvignon Blanc, what beer styles would they look for?
Sure. I would look for elegance. That beer itself, I believe, was a sour blonde ale, if I'm not mistaken. So something with a little more acidity to it, will lift it up a little bit. It'll make the tones in it a lot brighter. So when you're thinking about fruit flavors, you're thinking about, instead of like the dried figs and mocha and black cherry of a stout, you're thinking of like lemons and limes and citrus zest. You're thinking of floral notes, elderflowers, and that sort of thing. Of something like the Field de Ferme.
So, out of curiosity, going a different direction.
Field de Ferme.
Sorry. Going a different direction, maybe possibly harder. Something that I used to like when I drank more wine was like a Syrah or Shiraz. Mm-hmm. Where do you go with that for beer? Because that's the lighter ones I can understand, I can kind of see, but that seemed harder for me to bridge over to beer.
That's why I brought this one from the brewery. This coffee, Imperial Stout with coffee. Because I think there are a lot of wine drinkers out there, especially here in America, that value impact, robustness, richness, and just power over everything else. They want something high alcohol. They want something full throttle, and that's great. There's plenty of call for that in the wine world. So if that's what you're looking for in wine, then something like a high-powered stout. And of course, Heddy and I were talking earlier about the ABV arms race that we've got going on in the craft beer world right now. Well, it only gets better and better for people who are looking for those most substantial wines, to find something like a higher alcohol, richer stout, something to beat you over the head with impact and complexity.
That makes sense.
Because brewers, now we've got a cap on the war here. The war goes to 14% in Georgia, and that's it. But, we've got brewers other places that are going 19, 21, up there percent, some beastie beers out there.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. So, what are the biggest misconceptions that wine drinkers have about beer?
Let's see. Well, the biggest step for us is we just have to get over our own inherent snobbishness,
Yes.
That could take a minute to get out of the way.
Just end it right there.
I'm glad to
stop the insanity.
I'm happy that you wore blue collars on your shirt today.
That
helps. That helps.
I will speak on that, though, because I used to think that the wine snobs were the worst, but guess what? Wine snobs ask questions so they can dunk on their friends with knowledge. Beer snobs ask you questions so they can dunk on you.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh, man.
And let's be honest, I was going to say, I loved everything you said about the comparisons of wine and beer. Let's be honest, the beer appreciation world for beer drinkers, we're all the way there. Like, we're all the way there, and people have their favorites. They love to tout different things over others, and I think that's great. I love seeing people get passionate about beer, seeking stuff out, whale tastings.
Right.
I'll trade you this and all that. I kind of forget what we were talking about.
Well, because as you mentioned it, we're just getting to a point with beer to where we are looking at this. It used to be just consumption.
Sure.
Right.
I think one of the biggest things that wine people have to get over is that conception about beer is too simple. It's like something simple. It's a thirst quencher. It's a cold Coors Light. Nothing wrong with that. But that's just something I want to drink on a beach on a hot day, and I don't want to think about it. I just want to get a little buzz on and drink something cold and sparkly.
Right.
Beer doesn't have to be like that.
Time for another break. Coming up next, we'll have a giveaway to give away and the hot list. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you like the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/beerguys, and you can support us for just as little as $1 and get some cool swag. We'll be right back.
Andrew and Lisa with Your Pie Perimeter here. We'd like to invite you to our store for a beer.
Is there anything better than pizza?
Yep, brick oven pizza that's made fresh and paired with a cold craft beer.
That's what you get at Your Pie Perimeter, located in the Perimeter Place Shopping Center by Perimeter Mall.
It's the perfect place to relax on the patio with a pint, after work, or bring the family in.
Andrew and Lisa, I'm going to let you finish, but first, you forgot to mention the $3 craft beer specials you have every Thursday. I mean, come on, the pizza's great, but that's an amazing deal. $3 craft beer specials every Thursday. Now, go ahead and finish your commercial.
Follow Your Pipe Perimeter on Facebook for all of our beer events and specials.
That's Your Pipe Perimeter, located in Perimeter Place Shopping Center next to Chipotle.
Have you ever thought about owning your own brewery, but don't know what it takes to get one built? We're CRL Contracting, and we build breweries. We are the most experienced contractors in the state of Georgia when it comes to building new breweries and tap rooms, or expanding current breweries. If you've been to Orpheus, Second Self, or Scofflaw, then you know what kind of work we can do. Just give us a call at 678-546-3382 or visit crlcontracting.com for more information. CRL Contracting. We build breweries. crlcontracting.com.
It's Aaron and Tim, the beer guys. If you're like us, no lunch or dinner is complete without a pint or two of craft beer.
Which is why Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock is always on our list. Tim, why do they call it Truck and Tap?
Well, the tap part is easy. They have 12 of them. Bottles, too. Not sure what to drink? All of their beer servers are Cicerone certified. And if you got someone who isn't a beer fan, not to worry. Truck and Tap carries wine, mixed drinks, and even handcrafted sodas.
As for the truck part, well, that's when it gets interesting. Truck and Tap features your favorite Atlanta area food trucks daily. That way, you're getting a different menu every day.
Check it out, Truck and Tap in downtown Woodstock. Truckandtap.com. Let them know that the beer guys sent you.
Hey, it is Aaron with the Beer Guys, and we are talking craft beer from the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market. If you are getting together with the crew this weekend, you need to skip the grocery store, head to the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market to pick up growlers, or yes, they've got crowlers too, of the craft beer you love. It is a great place to spend the summertime with craft beer, barbecue fixin', fresh local meats and cheeses, all of that great stuff. They make hanging out with the friends on weekends easy. Make sure to grab some local beers from Creature Comforts, Omaha, Southern, Arches, Monday Night, Sweetwater, all of the great Georgia breweries that we have. Of course, it's beer drinking season, but it's also grilling season. And the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market has you covered with all things Big Green Egg. They've got grills of all sizes and all the accessories. Seriously, they've got everything you need for a great barbecue. It is quite simple. If you like craft beer, you have to visit the Stout Brothers Smyrna Beer Market. It's in the Smyrna Market Village, and check out thestoutbrothers.com for the tap list. That's thestoutbrothers.com, and let them know the Beer Guy sent you.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
I didn't enjoy it at all.
Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
And welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're wrapping up our conversation on beer and wine this week. We've drank some great wines. We're going to drink some great beers here in a minute. So we've just had a great time. But let's now check out the hot list.
Time for the hot list. The Beer Guys have the scoop on what's going on next week. Brought to you by CRL Contracting. We build breweries. CRLcontracting.com.
That's hot.
Brian, what have we got going on over in beautiful Alabama this week?
So there's a lot going on. Today, Magic City Brew Fest, Avondale Park in Birmingham, 4 to 8 p.m. And when you're done with that, in the evening, there's the Magic City Brew Fest after party at Cahaba Brewing Company, also in Birmingham. That's 8:30 to midnight. On Tuesday, Good People IPA is having an event at Hop City, Birmingham from 5 to 7. And on Wednesday, Old Black Beer Tap Takeover at Das Stahl Beer House. I guess that's how you say it, in Huntsville.
That sounds close enough to get people there, right?
I took a little German in college, so
all right.
I feel confident about that. So that's Das Stahl Beer House.
All right. Yeah.
5 to 8:30 p.m. And on Thursday, National IPA Day at Revolve Kitchen and Brew in Birmingham, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Sounds awesome, man. Well, over here in Georgia on Sunday, we have Sunday Fun Day at Your Pie Perimeter. We have a tiki tour at Creature Comforts. They've taken their Athena, and they're making tiki-inspired cocktails there, Brian. So it sounds very awesome. We've tried a couple of those. Very good. So, and also there's going to be a Southern Pig Roast at Wild Heaven. On Monday, over in Athens, we have the Athens Chefs Collaboration Dinner at Creature Comforts. On Wednesday, we have Team Trivia at Your Pie Perimeter. Grab a friend, go play some trivia. Beer specials, always a good time. On Thursday, we have a Founders Beer Dinner at Local Republic. And over here, we're also celebrating IPA Day. Sweetwater's going to have an event with a bunch of IPAs on tap and some surprises there. So check that out. On Friday, we have game night and a birthday celebration at Ironmonger. They said, bring your own game, board game, table game, or use some of theirs. And on Saturday, full day. Saturdays usually are over here anymore.
For sure.
But we have Watermelon Palooza at Five Seasons West Side. We've got the Belgian Rose bottle release at the Woodlands. Sweetwater was kind enough to hook us up with a bottle of the Belgian Rose, and we're being nice and waiting until Aaron gets back to open that up.
Fine.
So, also, that's Mead Day. So we're going to have the Viking Alchemist, B Craft, and one other, and I forget who it is, but they're getting together at the Viking Alchemist Meadery to celebrate Mead Day there. So if you're a mead drinker, next Saturday, good day to be there. And, of course, it is the 5th of the month, and that means it is Cinco de Siberias. So get Mexican Siberias at the Wrecking Bar. And, of course, for a full list of events, just check out our calendar at beerguysradio.com. We're going to do something just a little bit different on this show, Brian. And, of course, as you know, earlier this week we had the opportunity to interview Bruce Watson. And for those who don't know, he is the guitarist for Foreigner. And he is a craft beer enthusiast, and he's a Cicerone certified beer server. So Bruce took a little bit of a break from their 40th anniversary tour with Cheap Trick to talk with us. Here's an excerpt from that interview. Our craft beer community here has expanded a lot over the last few years. Have you done any research coming in, or are you just going to see what the city brings you when you get here?
That's usually what we do. I mean, there are occasions where we do some research, but our schedule is so limited that we can't really reach out and take tours and do much other than try to find the best stuff it's either in our hotel or but that does bring up the fact that every city we go to, we're doing these VIB events, very important beer events. This is with Michael Bluestein, the keyboard player, and I. And I guess you're a certified beer server as well, yeah?
I am, correct.
Yeah. So anyway, we both got certified and have continued to just try to learn more and love more about beer. But with Foreigner, we've sort of found that beer and rock and roll is a pretty natural fit. And so before every show, we're hosting these VIB events where fans can come and they can pre-show with us, and there's usually 3 different breweries will come by and bring some of their wares, and we can sit around in a very informal way and just taste some different local stuff. And that's what's great. Live Nation is helping us interface and hook up with breweries that are from the area in which we're playing. So it gives us an opportunity, of course, for us to taste the stuff, but also to expose some of local Foreigner fans to beers that they would probably maybe not have heard of. And it's kind of a win-win for everybody.
Thanks again to Bruce Watson for speaking with us. You can listen to the whole interview on our website at beerguysradio.com, or subscribe to Beer Guys Radio or Drink This Beer podcast and listen anywhere. You can also catch the band on the remainder of their tour this year, or join Bruce and bandmate Michael Bluestein for one of the VIB meet and greet beer tastings. And now it's time for a giveaway to give away. Tim, who's the lucky winner this week?
Our lucky winner this week, Brian, is Justin Rahuba. Justin, thank you so much for subscribing to the This Week in Georgia Beer. If you'd like to subscribe, just come to our website, fill out the form. You'll get a weekly newsletter on all that's going on in Georgia Beer, and you'll be entered to win a very cool swag pack.
And we're going to go back to talking to the guys, have a few more questions for them before we wrap up the show. So I think people are more accepting of pairing wine with food, but over the last few years, we've seen more beer and food pairings, right? Is that in keeping with what you guys are seeing?
Definitely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think about it, like, from wine, the amount of, known flavors that you can get out of a wine, somewhere, around 430, 470. Right now, through gas chromatography and other different analytical chemistry tests, there's about 810 perceivable flavors you can get from craft beer as of now. So, yeah,
I've seen those charts. They're pretty impressive that you guys do over there, yeah.
To kind of pair with. But, it just comes down to you want your cake and you want to eat it too when you want. Pick what you want, eat what you want, drink what you want. But,
So what are the some of the beer pairings you do with food that you would ordinarily recommend a wine? You're doing beer instead. Any ideas there?
Sure, yeah. I would say I like some of these, and I know I keep going back to this, but the sour ales, tart ales, I'm a big fan of.
Sure.
I pretty much supplement them for higher acid white wines, sparkling wines pairings. So we're talking about shellfish is a shoe-in for that, I think. A tart saison to go with oysters on the half shell, that sort of thing. So on the other end of the spectrum, where you would pair more dessert wines, more higher alcohol type stuff with the dessert course. You could go with something like we have a dessert called a budino. It's a caramel bread pudding at the restaurant, and with that, I think this coffee stout would be absolutely stunning. So anytime you would have a food pairing with a wine, sort of the beer world equivalent, is a good insert right there.
Sure.
Cool.
Yep.
So, Peter, are there any instances where a beer is just going to be a better choice than a wine? Not that you're just substituting a beer for a wine, but maybe a beer is just a little more appropriate.
There's always circumstances to every moment. I like to think of alcohol kind of like music. I personally hate country, but I know a good country song when I hear it.
Okay.
And I can tell you when I'm in Georgia, when in Rome, better listen to some country sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I mean, really, when it comes down to it, maybe I'm an outlier in the sense that I believe that whatever your mood, whatever you got that fits it, whatever kind of gets you to the point where you're the most content with what you're consuming and who you're consuming it with or where you're consuming it, that's kind of what's important. But, at the end of the day.
Don't overthink. Is it beer? Is it wine? Just go with the flow and drink what you want to, huh?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah?
Like, why not? But, but at the same time, a lot of people disagree with that. And,
sure.
Come meet me at Monday Night Brewing.
That's right. We can fight.
Tim,
want to fight?
Like you said, don't overthink it.
Right.
I mean, like Peter's saying, if you like something, if you like a beer and you like a food, chances are you're going to like them together.
Yeah.
So,
Since you're still more heavily, Peter, of course you can answer this as well. Do wine people need to chill out a little bit?
This wine person does. I'll tell you. Jeez. Do they need to chill out? Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
big
right.
time. But
No, come on.
He's going to see.
Give
He's
yourself
just
some
here to
credit.
disagree.
Okay.
No, I'm not here to disagree.
You want-
There's jerks in every shape or form. So
let me let you in. This is kind of going to be kind of a revelation, I think. But
Okay.
to a certain extent, people don't want us to chill out.
I see that.
Yes.
Sure.
People like a little bit of snobbishness. They want that because it's part of the image. It's part of the effect. But no, you in any camp, in wine drinkers, spirit enthusiasts, and beer drinkers, any alcohol,
Just chill.
You have
right?
people that go way overboard.
Sure.
And
We
it
have
is-
that in beer.
Yeah,
right now,
absolutely.
too.
Yeah,
We
exactly.
absolutely do.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, that Wicked Weed, the Feta Ferrum, I remember correctly, it was a tart farmhouse ale, not
Tart
a blonde ale. I'm sorry, I wouldn't be able to sleep tonight.
No, I understand.
The
I
show
I
is
understand
canceled
that.
now.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
I was going to say something. I was like, I got to get.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Well, everybody, we thank you so much for joining us. We're probably going to pop a couple more beers here, maybe after we get off the air. But we have Dan Pernice. Check out his restaurant, Osteria Mattone, up in Roswell, Table in Maine. And you've got a new one coming, right?
Coalition Food and Beverage.
Awesome. Check out all the delicious Monday night brews. They're all great, so you can't go wrong whatever you get there. And go visit Heddy up at Burnt Hickory Brewery. So you've been listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We'll be back next week, and we're going to do, by popular demand, a homebrewing show. So thank you for joining us. Don't forget to drink local. Cheers.
Thanks for listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're on demand via iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, or wherever you get your podcasts. Always online at beerguysradio.com. Aaron and Tim are back next week with more about the amazing world of craft beer. Cheers.
Hey, it's Aaron from the Beer Guys Radio Show, and it is summer, and it is time to talk about barbecue. Yeah, the Nest in downtown Kennesaw is the destination for not only some amazing barbecue, but it's one of the best craft beer spots, OTP or ITP. And if you're hungry for some barbecue to go along with that craft beer, you know you need to be at the Nest. Summertime, like I said, it is here. Celebrate the season with friends and family while sipping on a Georgia-made beer on their 2,000-square-foot patio. Try some brews from some of your favorite breweries like Creature Comforts, Jekyll, Omaha, Red Brick, Reformation, Dry County, so much more. Go check it out. They've got awesome barbecue. 59 taps pouring the best craft beer from Georgia and around the world. Coffee and wine, too, for those who like that kind of stuff. What else do you want? It's the Nest in historic downtown Kennesaw on Cherokee Street Northwest. Check out their current beer list and menu at thenestkennesaw.com and let them know the Beer Guy sent you.